Yo, what is up, everybody? Oaklinshield here, and today we're gonna be talking about police officers.
Why did you turn that hideous music off? I hate this song. It sucks.
Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, so there are some really chill cops, and there's just some cops that are just complete jackasses, ladies. I don't even know I just did that, but I did that. Anyways, so there are a couple cops that have a couple experiences. Two of them are really chill. One's really messed up. One's really rude. Can't even So over the summer of 2015, because it's 2016. So over the summer of 2015, I was going to Walmart with my dad. It's about 10 minutes away from my house. Going to Walmart. There was a cop there. Well, we didn't think he was actually pulling us over because he turned around but he pulled us over in the parking lot. We parked in the parking lot, pulled us over, and he was like,
Can I have your license and registration, please?
and I was like, well, this is my dad. This is what my dad said. He was like, yeah, here you go. Blah blah blah. We did all that stuff, and he was like, your son here did not have his seatbelt on. Now, keep in mind, my dad has a 2003 Chevy Silverado, so his truck is pretty tall, and the seatbelts are embedded inside the seat. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll try to pull up a picture of the seatbelts on the screen here. And, yeah. So, freaking, he and I was like, officer, I had my seatbelt on. He was like, no. He cut us off, real straight. He was like, you don't understand here, sir. You did not have your seatbelt on, and you were going down the highway to get to Walmart here. Do you understand here, mister? And I was like, dude, chill. Don't cut me off like that. Don't be a butthole. And, I was trying so hard to restrain myself, and I did restrain myself. I didn't want to say anything, and I was like, think about it. What's he going to do? Was he going to take me out? Was he going to take me out of the truck and handcuff me, arrest me? I'm 15 years old. What? No. No. And he was like, yeah, you weren't wearing your seatbelt here, and I want you to, here's your ticket. And I was like, sir, I was. And he was like, no, you were not. I was like, okay, sir, Now, keep in mind, I have a tall truck, and he was on a motorcycle. So what he would have to do is turn on his hoverboard, his hovercraft on his bike. That makes so much sense, right? He would have to, hover to see through my dad, to see through me, because he was on my dad's side, and then he came back behind us, ran our license plates, pull us over. He was on my dad's side. Now, it doesn't make any sense that he somehow saw that I didn't have my seatbelt on, because clearly I did. I don't go anywhere without my seatbelt on. If I'm holding something and my parents tell me to take it off, just to hold it or something, I freak out. I can't do it. I have to have my seatbelt on. It makes me so uncomfortable. It's like going to school without my backpack on. It feels so weird, unless everybody else is doing it's guys, come on. And he was like, yeah, you don't have your seatbelt on here, sir, and I just want to, yeah. And, it's so dumb. So we went to court sometime in July or something, and we went over there, and we got evidence that I was wearing a seatbelt the whole time. And now keep in mind, he didn't even come up to the truck to see if I had my seatbelt on. He stepped back away from the truck. He was just like, oh, I'm not even gonna check to see if he has a seatbelt on, because I know he does not have a seatbelt on, because I'm the police officer and he's the 15-year-old. And I was like, okay, kid, okay. I don't know why I just call him a kid. He's obviously older than me. Now, keep in mind, I'm not bashing cops. I respect cops, because they keep bad people away from us. You guys can't, bash him or anything, but you want to know what I wanted to say to this cop? I wanted to copy his accent. I wanted to say, now this is why people hate you. This is why people hate the police, because they pull us over for no reason. And it was just funny. It was just stupid, and we went up to the judge when we went to go to court, and we were like, and he pulled me up there, and he was like, how old was the kid? I'm like, I'm right here. He was like, he asked me how old I was at the time it happened. I was like, I was 14 at the time it happened, sir, but I'm 15 now. And he was like, He was like, "Oh, we're just gonna defer you." He didn't even get us chance. He didn't even give us a chance to like defend ourselves. And the reason why that happened is because the way they make their money is, they people paying off tickets, so some of that money goes to them, which I completely understand. But it was really annoying. Like we didn't even get to plead our case. And then one time I was driving to church with my mom, and we got pulled over, and my dad was in the passenger seat. I was in the back seat. Now my mom has a 1999 Trans Am with a bra in the front, so it can get dirty under there. But my mom, okay, let's just say this: before this happened, my mom washed her car. Her car was completely washed. So there was a cop going the other way, and we were going straight. He was on the left lane, so he was going, And he pulled us over. He came around, pulled us over, and he was like, "Yeah, your front license plate here, ma'am, has too many bugs on it, and I can't read it." And I was like, that is the stupidest reason to pull us over. Like, no, like that doesn't make any sense. And he must have ran our license plate before, because I'm not gonna say my dad's name because I don't like using names. And so there's a guy that has the same exact name as his dad, first and last name. Obviously, I have my dad's last name, but he has the same exact name. And he had a warrant for his arrest. Well, my dad never does anything bad. My dad's a good dad. He is self-employed. He does all this stuff. And he was like, yeah, he pulled us over for the stupidest reason. He was like, yeah. And my mom, she washed her car the day before. We literally got out of the car in that time and looked at the front and back license plate, and they were clear. So that's just kind of another thing that happened. Now, this happened yesterday. So my parents are DJs, and they do karaoke and stuff. Like, they do that at a bar. And, yeah. And they were driving home. It was probably about 3 o'clock at night because they were on late most of the time. And there was about 3 o'clock at night, and my dad gets pulled over. Now, the way this happened is he was a cool guy. He was cool all the way through the process. He was like, yeah. Well, obviously my parents were drinking, and he was like, okay, this is what he said. He was like, the reason for me pulling you over here, sir, is because we accidentally wrote a license plate in wrong, and it came up to be yours, so we came to pull you over. And I was like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Like, aren't the license plates supposed to be specific, guys? Like, it's not the same thing, people. Like, they're all specific. Like, you can't just accidentally punch in a license plate and boom, it's yours.
Like, all license plates are specific, guys. He was like, what? It was so confusing. And then he was like, oh yeah, you rolled stop to a stop sign. I was like, okay, whatever. And then, so my dad got pulled out of the car, taken to the back of the van, and because they had a van at the time. And my mom was freaking out because they obviously were drinking, but they weren't drunk. But my mom was freaking out, like, because she couldn't see what they were doing because the lights in the back were flashing her eyes. And he was just, I don't even know. Like, he asked what my dad did for a living. Like, my dad's full Mexican, and I feel like he only asked that because he's being a little discriminating. But I really don't know. Like, I can't just assume things when, I mean, they could be wrong. But, like, I don't believe he has a right to ask what my dad does for a living. Now, my parents both have jobs, real jobs. My mom works at a place as an accountant, and my dad is self-employed. He does siding, windows, and everything like that, roofing. And so I feel like he didn't have a right to say that. Like, this guy was cool all the way through the process. They didn't get a ticket after all. But he literally said, he was like,
yeah, we accidentally typed in the wrong license plate, and, yeah, it turned out to be yours, but, that doesn't make any sense because, everybody's license plate is specific.
And I was like, okay, sir, okay, just dial down a little bit. Like, that's the stupidest excuse to pull someone over. Like, that's your problem, like, none of ours, So, it's just a little bit of a rant. I love you guys to death. I hope I'm not bashing cops at all. I love cops. They're because they help us get bad guys away, I love you guys to death. You're the best, and I'll see you guys sometime soon.